Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar. My name is David Green. I'm the marketing manager here at IDERA and will be serving as today's host for this event. The topic of our webinar is SQL Server Solutions with ChatGPT, from troubleshooting to enhanced diagnostics. Joining us today as the presenter for our event is industry legend Pinal Davi of SQL Authority. Before I hand things over to Pinal to kick things off, I would like to take a moment to remind you that we'll be hosting a short Q&A after the event. To this end, we ask that you direct any questions that you may have during the course of the presentation to the questions panel. On a final note, this webinar is being recorded and will be available to view on demand after the event has concluded at any time. With that, we're ready to get started. Pinal, you have the floor.
Right, no, thank you for introduction. Thank you, IDERA. Thank you, David. And thank you, Mark, who is going to help me do this presentation. So thank you, all of you. As I see a lot of people are joining in. And one thing I just wanted to mention is that a lot of things I have already discussed, which is in a part one, like turbocharge T-SQL with ChatGPT optimization. Now, this is particularly available on YouTube. If you search, it's there on IDERA's channel. It's there on IDERA's web pages. So you can definitely find this one, and it also has a lot of goodies, and I am not planning to repeat any of this today, but one or two demonstration, which I received a lot of questions, feedback, and I'm hearing a lot of good stuff about like, oh yeah, how did you do that? Can you explain more? So those are the things which we will take it today, but otherwise we will try to cover the new stuff, and then we will go further, like how, see, ChatGPT can take you to certain places only, or generative AI, but then how to do it more systematically and how to give more stable response and things. That is something we will talk more with Mark a little bit later on in this webcast. So I see everybody joining already, and I know a lot of you are right now watching it online. So let's get started. So first thing first, last time I got a lot of questions about this one. So I'm going to start with that particular thing, and that's called execution plan. So here on the screen, all of you can see the execution, a very simple query in front of us. So this is the query which is there, and this is the one which I will be using to get started with our conversation. So here we go. Now, this is the query. I enable the execution plan, and I just ran the query. Result is in front of us. Now I will go over here, and this is the execution plan. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take a screenshot of this particular execution plan, and then I'm going to feed that to ChatGPT. And let's see what ChatGPT helps us out. So this is our starting point, and this is the only prompt I gave to ChatGPT. I'm telling it that you are SQL Server expert, and you must answer using your expertise. There is no hidden prompt. There is really nothing hidden behind it. And I'm only using ChatGPT as the example, but you can also use Gemini or any other product which you feel comfortable. So it's totally open to you. Now, I took a screenshot of our execution plan, and I'm just pasting it over here and just asking any suggestions. That's it. Nothing more. Very, very simple. To the point, I'm asking any suggestions. Let's see if it has any suggestions. These days definitely uploaded our execution plan, and right after it has uploaded the execution plan, it's thinking, I hope it gives me answer. Oh yeah, look at that. It says there is definitely there is index missing. It also suggesting us to do a lot of things. Oh wow, this is awesome. So this is particular enhancement since we last time seen it, because last time when if you see in a webcast, it just says do this, that's it. But this time it's giving us exact syntax of the index which we want to create. Also, it is telling us to review our index usage on this one because there is a join. It's not asking us to create it. It's telling us to review them. Also, it is telling hash match is there, and it can be expensive. Do you really need to have a hash match? If not, this is the area where you want to spend time. Also, it is telling us about cluster index scan, also data sum. Do you really want it? Aggregation. And then after, it is also telling us you can try it out with CTE or temporary tables. Now, this is exactly, you can ask it. You can say, hey, go to the your suggestion query number 6 and help me rewrite this query with CTE, and it will do that. But you know what? I'm not going to show that today because this kind of thing you can do yourself. My entire point is how we can take help of the ChatGPT or any kind of generative AI, and that can get us started on a right path. they can make mistake, as there is disclaimer here. And so yeah, mistakes will happen, but it at least tells us to look into something. And I just want to make sure that you guys ask the right questions. So there is a question tab, and you can ask anything there. I'm reading it right now on separate screen. If you have you don't have to ask a question. You can just write it down. Hi, hello, anything you can write there, and I would be reading it, and I would be answering you live. So if you want me to do anything, suggestions, just go to question answer panel and just type your point, and I would do my best to include that. Now, this was just the very first thing which we got started, but this is not it. I mean, you can also, this is not, you can also paste your execution plan in an XML format. For example, here is the plan. You can go show XML execution plan, and here is the plan. You can copy this, and then after you can further paste it over here and say any suggestions. Let's see if it can give us any further suggestion. So it already have the same execution plan in graphical format. Now we have given that in the XML format, and if it has anything more to tell us, then it will tell us. So yes, look at that. There are a few more index suggestions. There is a one initial index suggestion, but right after that, there are a few more things. It's crazy fast, and it's telling us a lot of things. Some of them are repeated, like hash match, create covering index, but it also telling us that make sure your statistics are up to date. So yeah, so not only one way, you can do this task multiple different ways and can get your answer. So how cool it is. I think it's a very interesting. I think it's a fun, and we can do a lot more if we just use the generative AI's power. So now is the time to see something more interesting and more involved. Let me know your thoughts about it. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I see some of the questions, and I definitely cover them as we go further. I have a demo about CPU only, and I'm sure you will all like this one. So with that, I'm gonna go to the another demonstration. So one of the things which was very interesting last time, a lot of people asked me, and this is what um, uh, people ask me that, can we do that with SQL Server? Because this is something we are not able to do. Well, let's try that out. Your problem, your question, whichever was, let me solve this time. I have specifically built a demonstration around it, and that is deadlock. So if you have a deadlock, or if you are facing a lot of locking in your system, and if you have no idea how to go about it, and you don't want to go out and hire any consultant, well, something similar you can do it with the help of ChatGPT. So here I'm just using a test database, and I have already created the first table in it, and I have populated that with 10,000 rows. Similarly, if not, I'll just still create it. Then it should give me an error. Yeah, it's already there. It's populated. Similarly, second table is also created, and it's populated with certain amount of the data. Now, that thing being there, I'm going to just start creating our very first deadlock. And to figure it out where to see deadlock, how to see deadlock, let's see that how we can do that. So for that, I will go to Object Explorer over here. I know this demonstration is a little advanced in one way, but that's the entire point. We just don't want to see simple things. Simple things, SQL Server can do it. We can ask ChatGPT, but let's somehow create a little complicated scenario and see how ChatGPT can really help us out. And now I will go over here and try to see management. Under the management, if you look at it, there is extended events. Under extended event, there is system health session. Now this session comes by default, it comes with SQL Server, and it shows various information over here based on whatever works and whatever thing is going on. So that is, I'm just enabling it. It's continuously collecting data. Now, I will first, in a first window, I will just run this begin transaction and updating the table. That thing is done. Now I will open second window, and that is over here. In second window, I will create another transactions. So another transaction is here. And now I will go back to the very first select statement and run it. Now this select statement will run forever, because it's not going to stop, because I have a transaction open over here, and this particular transaction is actually locking the second table, which I'm trying to read over here. But right before that, there was a first table. Now, this is the same first table. I will try to read here. This is a classic case of a deadlock, and it will be locked. So let's see, as soon as I run this one, either this or this executing, which you see over here, we will see that being locked. So let me just run it. I ran this select statement. Now let's see what happens. So this query finished, but as soon as this finished, we can see over here, transaction was deadlocked on a lock resource with another process and had been chosen as a deadlock victim. Now I can rerun it, but that's not the point. Here, I got a deadlock. I really got a system health. I got my deadlock, and here I have all this information for my deadlock. So I copied this thing from here. This is out of the box. This is just working. Okay, I didn't configure anything special for it. I still got a deadlock over here. And now I will go back to ChatGPT and I will paste this thing here. So this is actually XML report. And I will say, Anna, let's this, my spelling. So I'll just say any suggestions. Look at that. This is how you can overcome your sometimes often typos. Any suggestions? Let's see if it takes it. Nope, I think it didn't like this one. Somehow it is not taking it. Oh, it worked. I just had to wait a little bit. Okay, so now it has taken the deadlock graph. Oh, it's answering us. Let's see what it has to tell us. All right, here is the deadlock analysis. See, this is the part, even like if you ask me, see, I do this for living. I'm a SQL Server performance tuning consulting. People come to me and they pay me huge amount of the money to just help them out. But whenever I see deadlock, I sometimes take a lot of time to explain them how exactly and what is happening over here. So here, this is a great help to me. And I think for this kind of thing, now you don't have to hire people like me, because you can just do it yourself. And if you need further help, you can definitely do it. Now let's see what it has to suggest. So it says this one was suspended, this one was suspended, and this was the wait going on. And here, even sometimes we see objects, but it knows that what was the object name, who was holding, what was happening. And all this is just information. But I think beyond that, it is telling us this: analyzing and optimize. These are the things you can do. You can change this one. You can change the order of the queries. Also, you can consider using no lock. Also, here it is telling us that if you create indexes on this table, maybe you will not have a resource contentions, and that is also true. Also, it is telling us, why don't you go with no lock, right? I mean, that was the great suggestion. I had that thing in my code. I can go with the no lock, and I won't see that. Also, it says avoid for long period of time, try reloading, retry the logic. And how do you retry it? Well, it also gave us that thing. So you can wait for 5 seconds and retry it. So your clients, right? Your clients doesn't have to wait when this kind of issue are there. Or worst case scenario, you can change the isolation level. But I will warn against it. I think you should do everything else, which is straightforward. When you change isolation level, sometimes you can make mistakes, which can be complicated. So we don't want to do it right away. This is where you might want to talk to your manager a little bit, understand the impact of it, and then do it. Again, anything generative AI tells you, you should just take with a grain of salt, try it out. At least look at that. At least it gave us few things to try it out, right? Without even understanding. And this is the beauty of it. And also, we can save this particular XML, and the XML can be converted to a graph. So graph can be, we can also use that particular graph to do various tasks. Now here, let me open that graph if I can just bring that up. Here is the graph. Now I can just take this particular graph. It will come in a second. Yes. So you can see this particular graph in front of you. And this is the graph which you can take a screenshot of it and provide to our ChatGPT. And it can also tell us a lot of things. So here, the same thing I'm doing. So you don't have to provide only XML. Sometimes it says, oh, your XML is too big, I cannot pass it. Well, no problem. Provide it graph and say, same thing. Any suggestions? I think it's pretty much the same thing. It's going to tell us because, it's the same graph we generated and we just provided to it. But yes, the fun part is that ChatGPT can solve our lot of simple thing. We can go from simple troubleshooting to start going to more interesting and intriguing thing what it can do. Where, as I said, look at that. It's it's still giving us the similar kind of suggestion. It has to, and that's the entire point. So a couple of you are asking, are you using paid version of ChatGPT? Yes, I am using paid version of paid GPT, but it doesn't have to be paid. This kind of task you can do without paid as well, because you can just paste the XML and you can get started with this one. So again, as I said, all advice of ChatGPT, you should take a grain with the salt. Try it out on your dev system. Make sure you understand the impact of it and do it. But at least it gave you idea. Instead of just sitting and not doing anything, you can consider, okay, these are the two indexes are there. Should I be creating it? But again, other rules of thumbs applies. Like, for example, you should not have more than 5-7 indexes on a table. Too many indexes also creates different problem. All these things, but this is not about disclaimer. I can give a lot more disclaimer. So the point here is, let's take it with a grain of salt. Use that hints, everything, try it out on your dev system and see which one works best for you. And at least it can take you out from the difficult spot to a little bit easier spot. So that's how it is. So, well, that's pretty much it for a point. And a couple of you are also asking, can you share the scripts? Well, pretty much it's like any of the script. Yeah, you can see it's just a generic Deadlock. You can just find anything from internet and just paste it, or even take your simple select statement, take execution plan and paste it over here. And that's how you can get started. So again, as I said, this is not the only tool. You can do the same task with Gemini as well. Let's start a new chat, and here I can, and this is a definite, lot of people are asking, what about free version? Well, this is the free version I have. I am not paying anything to Gemini or Gemini, however you want to pronounce. And here I'm pasting the same thing. So I pasted my same execution plan, sorry, the Deadlock plan, and I'm just pasting it over here. So any suggestions? Let's see if it has any suggestions. Same Deadlock plan. Let's see how good they are. Again, we are not here to judge because the responses are always different based on the moment, based on the algorithm behind the scene, what is going on. So I'm not going to pass a judgment which one is better and which one is not. But you can see, identify the root cause of the deadlock, minimize the locking, use the appropriate lock escalation. So it has definitely given us some suggestions, and that's pretty much it. So in one way, you can say this is much better because it's pointing you to right direction, but not really telling you to do anything. But again, as I said, Gemini information may be accurate as well. So yeah, take it as a starting point. All right. So these are the things which I wanted to discuss. Now we can even go further. Thanks for the question that how to do anything with free version. Now there is a few people are asking about Copilot and cloud as well and things. So yeah, you use the one which you think is totally right. We are, as I said, I'm just taking one tool as example, but you don't have to use that particular tool forever. And again, these examples and things are pretty limited. What I mean by that is what I'm trying to show you may change in the future as well. But it's a great tool to keep it handy. You don't have to go and hire expensive consultant. You can just try to get started yourself. And if you still don't get it, then it's at least you can learn. You learn something. And it can do a lot of interesting stuff, okay? So for one other example, I will tell you is this. So look at this. I went on IDERA's website, and I would take a screenshot of this one and say, okay, this is IDERA's website. I'll take a screenshot of it. And after taking a screenshot, I can go to ChatGPT. Here, paste a question. Can you build a sample database based on an example on the image? And I will say image, which is I taken a screenshot, as I said. I'll paste it over here. I'm taking IDERA as example, but because thanks to them, we are all together right now. using their platform, but you can take anything and can build very similar things. So now I pasted it, and I'm telling this one to say, give me T-SQL. Let's see if it can do it. See, these are a great starting point. Like sometimes we get a wireframe, sometimes we get like we are not getting through. We see similar examples, and we just wanted to get it working. So look at that. It's just started to say, I will get you create database. It is telling you that you should have a server, you should have tools, you should have educational resources. But this is what I like about them, a lot of education. That's it. And look at this, insert data into the server. So some data it has generated. We won't trust everything it says, but yeah, it does. Yeah, manage data like pro. Yeah, that is what definitely what IDERA team does. So that part I kind of agree. Um, well, that's it. So it has given us this, and look at that explanation. And here, I can even ask for a few simple queries and things. Now you already know I can go back and forth. A couple of people are asking, show me example of cloud and Gemini Advanced. We can't cover everything because that's not the point. Point is understanding about capabilities, and as many as capabilities you can run it and see what you can do. So now I can ask the same question, like for example, see, you should try out few tools. Like I actually asked the same question a few minutes before, build a T-SQL table structure for the following website. And you can see this is here. It has said, no, I cannot do that. So sometimes it's the prompt. Sometimes it's the prompt, which is also plays a vital role. So let me change the prompt, and I will paste the same image. Now let's see if it can do it or not. Again, see, we cannot trust this thing. As I said multiple times, you just have to keep on trying. But it gives you a lot of good suggestions. Now, few people are suggesting don't post your personal information on the internet. I get those things. That's why you read this privacy thing and all other things. I don't know about what is right and wrong. That's something you and your organization has to decide. And if you don't trust any of tools, please don't use them. It's optional, right? So let's see the product positive side of it. Now look at that. Gemini didn't give that detail, but it did create one table. That's it. But then it further explained few things here and there. So I think for this, I needed to give a little bit more prompt. See, capabilities is different. I'm not saying this is better or another one. It's just about doing and learning few things here and there. But at least this, we can see it's a great starting point for us. All right. So, well, that's what I wanted to talk about it. Okay. Any other? I'm going through any questions. If you have any questions, please let me know because it's a fun. I'm going to show you one advanced demo of CPU. But before that, I'm going to show you one interesting thing. You can even take questions like this. Write a T-SQL query to find out which products in an inventory table has not been sold. Now, this I've directly taken. I changed few things here and there, but there was one of the interview question posted on the internet, and I thought, oh yeah, interesting one. I can just learn. If I go exams back, they may ask you questions like this, and I should just I can ask ChatGPT this kind of thing. So I said, yeah, because it is, let's see what it says. Because question is already there in an image or instruction. Oh yeah, look at that. It's so good at explaining us. It's just going beyond and explaining us like, okay, create two tables, and this is the left join. There we go. Where product is null, this is what you get. That's fantastic. I really, really love it. Anyway, okay. Now let's see a very, very interesting demonstration. This is the fun one, and let's see if I can generate it right now. Sometimes it's hard when we are doing a live presentation to come up with this particular example, but I'll do my best. So here, I'm going to run a query. Again, this is a bit advanced, so please pay attention. I'm enabling the execution plan. So query just going to run after a few seconds. Query is over. I'll go to execution plan over here. And in execution plan, you can see there is a parallelism. There are two parallel icons going through most of the operators. And that means it is actually running things in parallel for those operators. Now I'll go to select, go to properties, And over here, I can see degree of parallelism is 20. That means this particular query ran on a 20 parallel threads, and each of the thread would have done a different task. For example, here when I come and select this cluster index scan, definitely there are a lot of work this one has done in a parallel, but let's see the threads. You can see thread number 0 didn't do anything. Thread number 6, 7, 8, and 9 didn't do anything. Still they were used, and some of the thread has way more work to do than they can do. Now look at that. These are the fun stuff. This is the what where you can now tease ChatGPT to explain you. Now you can take a screenshot of this, paste it to the ChatGPT and say, why this is uneven? And let's see what ChatGPT has to see. I'm not going to do this one right now, but I would like you guys to do something very similar yourself and see what you get answer. And that would be fun. And please let me know, or you can just post it once this video gets, this is being recorded. At the comment of that, you can say, hey, this is my answer. This is what I found, and I did it. So this kind of advanced stuff you can do with the ChatGPT. But I'm going to show you something fun. Now I'm going to run this query 20 times. Oh, yeah, I should have not enabled the execution plan. So I'll run this 20 times and I'll close the properties. Once the query is running, I would go and open a weight statistic script, one of my favorite thing. So if you have ever hired me for consultation, you would know about this script, and this script is available on the internet. Go and use anybody's script. You don't have to use my script. Every expert out there has a similar weight statistic script, and all of them got it right. So don't worry about it. And this script, but if you want my particular script, you can always go to SQLauthority.com and get it. But as I said, not needed. You use anybody's script. And here you can see all this right now, which is CX packet weight, number of weight statistics, number of waiting task count, percentage weight, asynchronous network IO, so much information. How do we analyze it? Now, this was the number one question which I received from you, that you wanted to learn more about ChatGPT. Now, in a normal condition, I would have said, you can run this particular script and go to this URL where I have explained you most of the most popular weight statistics, and you can just read their information, like how to resolve it. But you know what? Those were the days when you used to do this thing. Now we have generative AI to guide us. Again, they are not correct, but good enough, right? I copy with header. I copied everything. Now let me go back over here, and I will paste, and I'll say, what is your opinion? Oh, no, I didn't copy it well. Oh yes, I should have selected this and copy with header. Look at that. Years of experience in SQL Server, and I'm not able to do this thing. Let me stop. What is your opinion? I'll go and edit this. It's not. Yeah, here we go. Did it paste? Yeah. Now I was able to paste everything. Let's say send. Meanwhile, any question and comments are welcome. I'm reading all of this along with it. And I think one of you are saying, which is the tool you like best for SQL work? Well, it's a very wide question, but this is the question I would ask my friend who is going to be available, Mark, with us in a less than 15 minutes, less than 15 minutes. And we will have a more conversation with Mark about tools and how to use the tools and make a most out of it. ChatGPT and things are little fluffy on top of it, but we just want to get a max out of it. And that's what I'm doing. So based on a weight statistics analysis, here are the observation. It's saying your CX packet weight is the highest. And this is the, this is the waiting task. Percentage wait time is huge. And it says CX packet weight is analysis parallelism. A high percentage of this is not good, which is insufficient. So it's kind of right. It's not 100% right, but it's very close to the truth. And then after it analyzes the other one. But then after, the best part is that it is giving us the CX packet weight analysis. And here it says, go to max degree parallelism and put a 4. Now, 4, just don't do it blindly. This is example value. But it tells you how to do it. It's a starting point for you. You need to know what is the right number for you. And for that, you can ask back ChatGPT or search on the internet the max degree of parallelism, the correct value, or Microsoft's official documentation out there, which will guide you what you should be doing it over here. Now, also it is telling us to increase the cost as well of parallelism. Trust me, guys, these are the things which I would tell you if you have high C expected weight. Seriously, you'd pay so much money just here what this is giving us free right now in front of us. And that's where I think the consulting job, like a lot of people ask me, is your consulting job going to ChatGPT? And my answer is that ChatGPT knows right now how to do it. It's just, do you know how to ask this question to ChatGPT? Once you know how to ask it, I think I will do some other job, because there is never enough work in a SQL Server field. And this is not only one thing we can tune. There are thousands of things we can tune. And that's why sometimes we just have to trust the tools, because the SQL Server tools are actually the one who know how to ask a right question. And we'll talk about that with our super expert, Mark, afterwards, that how tool can make us help ask the right question, but later on. Right now, let's see this one. These are the things which ChatGPT is telling us to do it. And for asynchronous network IO, it is telling us that, this has, and this is generic advice, truth advice, but generic one. See, sometimes it tells you this, and here it went bold and told you to change isolation level. You know what? There should be definitely disclaimer. You should not be doing it, but it's good to learn. At least you can research about it. So don't do everything it tells you to do it. That would be a problem. Try one thing at a time. But it's a great point. I mean, yes, interesting. Oh, this can be also solution, but it should have told us that, this is only happening. It has told us only happening 3% of time. So even though we do anything which is listed over here, the maximum impact of this would be just 3%. So yeah, I would not go all the way down this line. And high C expected weight is the only thing. And now there was ChatGPT also has other GPTs which they have built. So I went to explore GPT, and here there are so many cool things here. But I don't want to use the everybody else's built. But I definitely are right now in a point where I'm trusting Team ChatGPT over here. So any GPTs which is custom they've created, I kind of thought, okay, I'll start with them because they already have my data. They know what to do, and it's done by the same team. So one of them was data analysis, and I have already done this thing. Oh no. Okay, maybe it's here. New chat. It's not in a new chat. Fine. So I think at this point we are left to ask them question. So we will say visualize it and analyze it. Let's see what it does. This would be a line thing. I already prepared it. I thought I would save time, but sometimes it just doesn't want to do it. But look at that. Now it's doing extremely cool thing. Look at that. It's telling us that you can take this kind of weight statistics. It's going to build the graph. It's analyzing it right now. It is building the Python code, which it is going to use it. It's so interesting because if you are in a data scientist, right, you can just take this code yourself, move it to your own Jupyter library, and you can run it. I love this particular flexibility because I can copy this code which they are using it. And once this is done, this is going to take some time. As I said, that's why I had already generated. But you know what? That's fine. So while this is generating, I'll try to answer a few questions. Like many of you are asking, is ChatGPT's previous version or Copilot or Cloud does the same thing what you are doing? More or less, they are doing it. We have seen example with Gemini. If we can provide the information, it more or less does the same thing. Will this webcast available for syntax error? So look at that, it does make error, and I think we're not going to see this completeness. So yeah, it's doing it again. Let's not waste our time on it, but you can know it can do this kind of stuff, and that's fun. So here I had done it earlier and images were there, but they're gone. Fine. So it has done analysis by running this one. So you can copy this particular code and paste it yourself. And so many images were there. But fine. now you know how to do it. The point is to teach you guys how to fish and not to do everything myself or ourselves. We know how to do it. So, all right. So with this point, I think we will take further here. This will leave it up to itself, and we'll try to do more stuff. Okay. So some of you are asking that every tool has a different capability, so they may not be able to do it. See, this is something you should try it out. I have actually access to many of the Gen AI tools. I practice with them, I try it out, and I figure out each of them has their own strength, and they sometimes do things which is different than another one, but I am very, very happy in general with that one. Now, I want to show you another, what we call, let me restart this one and see if this works. Maybe I gave it a very, I'll remove a lot of other stuff. And we will keep only first top 5 or 6. Let's see if it can do for the lesser amount of it. While this thing is being built, we will go and see another demonstration, and then we will come back to this one. And if it is done, then we will see. If it's not done, we'll definitely skip, and we have other things to see. All right, so I'll go back to SQL Server meanwhile, and we will see a demonstration there. So the demonstration which I really wanted to show you, it's about statistics and importance of the statistics. See, without statistics, sometimes we can't get the right information. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you. So I have 2 databases which I've already created. One of them is statistics on and one of them has statistics off. So for this database, I have auto create and auto update statistics on, but so for second one, that is off for both of them. So now I have done that, created a table and populated a table, done few things in it. That's simple. Those are not important things. But here is the important thing which I'm going to do. I'm enabling the execution plan, and I should be running these queries, 2 queries, identical queries. When I go and see the execution plan over here, the first query is a 37%, where second query is 63% in terms of the cost. That means second query was more expensive. Now, if you are perfectionist, you'll definitely go over here and check the logical reads, and logical reads are actually telling the same story as what we have seen in execution plan. So look at that. Now, here we know the second query is expensive, but do you know why? Well, there is a small triangle over here we can see, and it is showing us some warning at the end of it, columns with no statistics. Fine, what does that mean? Let's take a screenshot and ask ChatGPT if you can help us out. So by the way, I have a question for you guys. Oh, look at that, that thing is done. So it is still errors, but you know what, it still did it. So it has done wait time in seconds by wait time, so we can visualize this. The highest number of the wait was CX packet, and number of waiting tasks by wait type was CX packet was not number 1, but the number 1 waiting time was asynchronous network IO, and percentage of total wait time by wait type, you can see over here. So CX packet wait was way higher than compared to other one, and then it has done some analysis and given some suggestion, and you already know the code which has written over here. So and you can copy, run it yourself. But please note that this was running actually on a paid version of the ChatGPT, but we can do only we can only go so far, right? We can't go all the way. We can only go so far. So that is where we need some more classic, or what we call more sophisticated tool which can do more things for us. And that we will talk in a second. But last, and one of the interesting thing which I wanted to show, what we were discussing about that execution plan and that error, say how to fix it, or what should I do? Please note, I'm not using any fancy prompt. The reason is not to show you guys how good at I'm writing a prompt. It's a simple prompt. But look at that, how good generative AI is to interpret my point of view. That's exactly what we are looking at right now. And you can see this, I posted just the execution plan. And let's see what it has to tell us. The provided execution plan, performing, yeah, it's telling us what we know. Now let's see if it gives us any suggestion. Here we go. It says index availability, check it. steps to fix the performance issue. This is what I was wanted to go. So it's definitely telling us to create index in a second case. It's also telling us to do statistics update and says you need to update statistics, otherwise it will not let you do that. So this kind of thing, because there was no statistics, a ton of statistics, it is explicitly asking us that we need to turn on the statistics. So I have a question for you guys. I've been seeing a lot of questions. I'm trying to answer most of them as we go. But did you like what I just showed you as your starting point? Just yes or no in a question answer would help. And will tell me also if I'm going in the right direction, or if you want to see more advanced example, forget about AI, but just in a SQL Server performance tuning, then I would be happy to bring that to you guys also. So just a few yes or no will help me while I'll try to read some of the questions and I'll try to answer. Please note, I'm not trying to say this tool is perfect, this tool is changing. It's just telling us where to start, what to start, how to get going. And also, so if you have a co-pilot also, go ahead, use that one. That also allows you to upload the images and things. And yeah, so this is what I'm really happy that it is making my life easy. It is drawing these images and telling us what to do. Sometimes I can just show it, send it to, like my clients send me weight statistics, I just send them this back and they're like amazed with it. They're immediately amazed. I'm like, oh, this is how it is. Oh, we understand. And then I always tell them that I have generated by ChatGPT. I don't want to take anything credit, but it's fun to tell them that, look, this is just beginning of our consultation. We can just take the same thing to the next level, or you can just go and do the use other tool. Okay, so there is a couple of questions which I want to answer. One of the question is that is SQL Server 22 stable? It has been stable. I've been using it for almost 2+ years. It works great. Okay, one person asked, your demos are, your prompts are so simple. Yes, that was the goal. I can ask more things. The more detailed the prompts are, more detail we can ask, but this was just starting point. One person is saying, do you think our job will go away? Well, jobs keeps on changing. I would never say use go away. I think 10 years ago, I was spending so much time in a, what we call in-premises servers, and we had issues about the disk failing and things. Now that particular job changes. The cloud is there and prominent. So I think, but then I got another thing to do. Right now, I'm doing another thing. I'm actually helping a lot of my clients do their own analysis. And look at that. Now ChatGPT helps me with this kind of Python code, and I can just do this, and I can tell them that you can just paste your number over here, whatever you're getting it. And I can also ask ChatGPT to write a code. So if they just put it in a CSV, ChatGPT will read that CSV and build this code. Right now, this was not able to, because you're using the server power and things, it didn't do it. But if you just host the Python on your server and you can do this thing, this would be like split second. It's like super fast. You would be amazed how fast it can go and do that. And that's the thing which I want to tell you. Just don't stay only with SQL Server. Keep an open mind, and we can do a lot of things out of it. Like this particular code, this is just beginning of it. I can also start asking question, like I can start providing more information, which queries are doing it and query and their weight statistics. Because, if you take any query, like let's say this is the query, right? I take this query, go to properties, and I think I should see queries time statistics. Or is this not showing us anything right now? But if there are any weights related to it, it will start showing you in a various operators, and you can use that information to provide to SQL Server. So I can literally provide like memory grant information. Right now it's nothing. But if there is any, and look at that. Why did this one was terminated early? Because it found good enough plan. So those kind of things. So this tells us so much information. If I can start providing this information to ChatGPT and or even my own hosting, right? Once I have a code which I downloaded it, I can use that same Python code and start feeding this information and can make most out of the system. So it's about keeping your mind open, heart open, and see how you can get max out of it, and just don't stick to it for doing everything. Well, that's what it is. But these are the things we can do it ourselves if you want to build it. But there are tools out there. There are things out there. Think about it. There are 3,000 server you have, and there are hundreds of database on your system, and you want to do all this yourself along with it. Well, how would you do that thing? Well, this is exactly where we need help. We can't just do it everything ourselves. There are people who has figured this thing out, and that's exactly what we want to do. So here, I'm going to request one of my friend, Mark, whom I know for many years, to help us out. He's expert at various tools. He knows he is a great guy to talk to, and you can ask him any question related to your interest in a product, and he would be happy to help us out. So over to you, Mark. Please help us out how we can take this journey further if we are in enterprise level environment, and I will answer rest of the questions now, which I have not answered so far. Thank you.
Thank you, Panal. Great presentation. It's amazing how far artificial intelligence has come, and I look forward to what's coming in the next decades around that technology as well. Since we're looking at it today from the whole idea of doing improvements around performance, I think it makes good sense to kind of plug a couple of the features that we offer in the IDERA product line that might line up with the topic today. And I do encourage everyone that's on this presentation today to go out to the IDERA website, www.idera.com, and look at the variety of different products that we offer for database monitoring and management and auditing capabilities. So we have a lot of different products there that you can go out and check out, download, install them in about 5 minutes, and they come with a license key already embedded in the products. So check out those products. But today what I'm going to focus on is our flagship product called IDERA SQL Diagnostic Manager. I'm going to focus on specific areas of the product because we have limited time today, but this is a product that I introduced to many of our customers as a product that has really evolved over 2 decades in the area of not just monitoring, but being able to do deep dive diagnostics around your Microsoft SQL Server environment, whether it's looking at your queries and doing query performance analysis, or looking at weight statistic analysis, or getting some good recommendations. We've actually evolved it to the next step where it doesn't just tell you you have a problem, it doesn't just give you tools to diagnose the problem, it also gives you recommendations now on how to actually improve performance. So I'm going to kind of focus on those key areas, and we're going to be looking at Diagnostic Manager Pro specifically today, which is not just looking at the core architecture of the main product, but also adding in features around workload analysis and also query tuning. And so I'm going to focus specifically in this tool, Diagnostic Manager. We're going to go all the way over here to the prescriptive analytic features. And the way this works, you can either run it manually, you can schedule it to run, you could even have it set up as an alert action where if a problem pops up in your environment, it kicks off an analysis at that point in time when a problem happened, and then it generates a comprehensive report that you can go in and review all of the recommendations. And so what you'll see here is a list of different reports that were created. And by the way, if you want to manually kick off the analysis, just to show you what it will do, it'll analyze all of these different categories. So you can have it run for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, and it will come back with information about where you can improve performance in all of these different categories. So let me just show you like a report that I've created in my little environment. And granted, I have a little demo environment, but in your environment, you know, a full-scale production environment, you might have all kinds of detailed recommendations that it will present to you. Some of them are going to be just more matter of fact, like if you haven't had DBCC check DB performed on databases, it'll throw that out there for you. Some of it's going to be focused on, you know, large tables that haven't had statistics updated in quite some time, but have had a lot of modifications. You can go down a little bit further. Maybe you have missing indexes or duplicate indexes. In this case, what I've highlighted. What you'll find is whatever you highlight down at the bottom, you're going to get a lot of good information about what could potentially be a problem. It'll identify what is a problem, what may not be an issue as well, so you get different schools of thought on whatever the topic is. And also I look up here at the top of these buttons that light up because that'll give me some additional information. In this case, a duplicate index, it's just giving us an optimization script that will help us with actually fixing the problem or removing the duplicate index. Now you may have to go through a review process with your team, so you could copy that out if you wanted to share with the rest of the team, or you could just kick it off and hit the run button. If you're an administrator in the tool, it'll allow you to reach out and actually run that script and eliminate that duplicate index. You can just go ahead and export all of the findings as well up here at the top. and it'll pull all of this information out to Excel spreadsheet, which then again you could share with the rest of your team and see what types of recommendations in the list that you want to accept. And you know, every environment is unique, so maybe some of these recommendations don't make good sense for your environment specifically, but you at least have some good food for thought, kind of like a onboard consultant that teaches you about some areas that maybe you need to consider. And this feature also has query tuning advice. So you can go down the list here and look for anything that it identifies as maybe a potential problem with certain queries that we're executing during that analysis. And again, the buttons light up here. It'll tell you, like here we have a cursor that could be optimized for better performance, and we select show the problem, and it highlights in that query where we need to go to improve that query, aligned with whatever the recommendation is that you see in the bottom panel as well. So that is the one area of Diagnostic Manager I wanted to highlight today, because I think that kind of lines up with the discussion we're having today in the webcast with artificial intelligence, and helping you with you know, areas of improvements that maybe you didn't consider, having the tool do the analysis for you. One other thing I want to point out is that with the Diagnostic Manager Pro, you're able to get the query tuning feature as well. And what's nice about this really isn't doing any monitoring unless you were to kick off a profile. For example, I can select the instance on the right-hand side here and select profile and make a connection to that instance. Even though it's using the word profile, it's actually doing sampling of dynamic management views to pull this data in. And you'll see that with things that are going on that SQL instance, it's starting to gather all of that data about, you know, what statements are executing by which users, what the workload would look like as well, with different queries that are executing as well. I've already ran it, you know, in preparation for our webcast today. So just to show you, I have that still running in the background, but I ran this earlier, and you can see the workload as I ran the profile session, and we can just kind of look down here at the bottom to see what queries executed, what the workload looked like under the events section, what the session activity looked like. And if there's something that stands out as a statement that we want to improve the performance, we just right click and we can select, first of all, to look at the execution plan if we want. This is something you can actually monitor real time while you're analyzing the queries or doing the profile session. While statements are executing, you can actually see every step of the operation as it executes as part of that workload. Or we can right click and tune the query. And what will happen is it'll open up this other window, and it goes through with a number of different test scenarios, test cases, and it will identify different ways to rewrite that query. In this case, it went through 110 different test cases. It also analyzed the indexes. We can go over to this analysis section, and it will tell us if there are any index recommendations down here at the very bottom. It'll show you any indexes that were being used by Database Optimizer, any indexes that could potentially be used, and with this statement, any indexes that are completely useless as far as this statement goes. But to the bigger picture, we can perform a detailed analysis and have it execute a certain number of tests against the rewrites. And as you can see down at the bottom, it shows the cost. If you see green, it means that there was greater than 10% improvement. If you see red, like if I go down the list here, some of the recommendations here, or with the test case scenarios, did not improve performance. It actually went backwards as far as that goes. But if you see green here, then there was something that was improved upon with the test. So like this hash join query, the cost went down significantly from the original execution, which is the #1 entry here at the top. The elapsed time was significantly decreased. Physical reads was decreased. Logical reads decreased. CPU time was about the same. So you can, you know, kind of go across all of these different test cases to see what works best for you. But I'll go ahead and take that hash join query, right click, and compare it to the parent just to see what is different. And it will highlight what it did to rewrite the query in the right-hand side. The original is on the left, the rewritten is on the right, and we have, you know, different query hints basically that are being applied to this. So I might go ahead and take that new written query, copy it out, and let's close that. And then we'll go up here to the top, and we have a couple of options now. We could do a load test with the rewritten query, and we can simulate a certain number of users with parallel sessions executing for a certain amount of time, certain number of executions. We can have a fixed delay between each iteration of execution or a random time interval delay as well. Or if you just want to execute it once and just see the results, we'll go up here to the top and click the SQL button, paste it in, and I know we're running short on time here, so I'll be quick here. We'll go ahead and execute that statement. It executes. And now remember, I was doing the profile session. So if I want, I can go back over to where we were profiling, and we'll wait for that to light up and see it. Like I said, it's monitoring everything I'm doing. And I'll go ahead and change this to filter just by this application. And we can see the queries that executed from this application. As you can see here, that was my little iteration here of executing with the rewritten. If I wanted, though, I could take some of the other rewritten queries and execute them as well and kind of do a comparative analysis on this chart with all of them that I execute to see how they affect the workload. So anyway, I'm going to turn it back over at this point. Just remember, go out to www.idera.com and check out these various products. This is IDERA SQL Diagnostic Manager Pro that I showed you, but we have a number of different products for backup, auditing, from that standpoint, you know, looking at configurations of your SQL instance as well, looking at inventory management as well. So feel free to go check out the products and also watch the event calendar for future presentations as well. We like to sponsor these events for all of our friends in the SQL Server community. And with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Panal and David. And I appreciate y'all listening to me today.
So Mark, actually, essentially, one of the questions which we kept on getting is how can we make the generative AI our own personal and do way beyond the comparison thing? Well, that thing is actually figured out. The tool which you are demonstrating, how we are comparing back and forth and future and suggestions. So I think, you know, we sometimes think this generative AI is way advanced. But when we look at this, many of the things which we want that tool to do, Gen AI to do, is already been figured out. Yeah. So this is so cool to see.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So over to you, David. It was great fun. Thanks for everybody joining in.
Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you, Panal, for a fantastic presentation, as always. We always love having you come join us for one of these. And thank you, Mark, for the rundown of how we can apply this to our own products here at IDERA. To all of our audience members, I thank you for taking the time to join us today, and I hope that you would join us next time. I would like to remind everyone again, as Panal mentioned earlier, that you can find this recording on YouTube shortly after today. And I hope that you guys will reach out to us should you have any further questions that have arisen out of this session. Thanks, everyone, and have a wonderful day.